I'm curious, in terms of hours per week, how much time are you putting into dating? I currently have a girlfriend, but we are not in a good place. We may break up due to us truly just being different. Nothing strange happened. It's just that I am becoming a doctor with a different personality, and she is a teacher with her own personality. I used to be into cold approaching and going to bars, but as I get older, now 27, I get turned off when I have to try to convince a girl to like me. Now I am pretty much willing to say no and set boundaries. As a result, I barely have female friends and don't get anywhere in interactions other than, "How is it going?" Realistically, if my relationship does not survive, how many hours should I be putting into dating while in medical school, and what should I tolerate? Story 1. Things got significantly easier once I stopped caring. It was much more difficult when I was younger and my number one priority was getting laid. Story 2. I put in as much effort as women do. I have done the heavy lifting and carried all the conversations for years, and I am sick of it. If a woman is not going to even try, I will move on. I am okay being single and getting my own life in order as I finish school and enter the profession I am pursuing. Story 3. It depends on what you are after. A casual fling or a serious relationship. For a casual fling, you do not need to invest much time, since her personality does not matter as much. For a serious relationship, an unbelievable amount of time is required. Story 4. Years ago, around 2010, a friend told me it was like a part-time job. He was spending 20 hours a week trying to find his person. Everything worked out. He is married with a couple of kids now. I would not want to spend that much time during medical school. I already know one person who dropped out. They have a mortgage worth of debt without the interest rate or job to afford it. Story 5. It is a constant effort. You have to be willing to put in work. Surprise her with little things, such as getting her flowers or making her breakfast. Once you are in a relationship, you are not home free. It requires continuous effort and compromise. Story 6. Right now, I am not very interested in dating because I often get rejected before I have a proper chance. The rewards do not outweigh the effort required. Being overweight does not help either, so I am putting in more effort to lose weight for the time being. Story 7. I have been with my current girlfriend for 7 months. We are at very different stages of adult life as she is still in university and I work full-time. I would not be dating her if it were not for her gracious and supportive attitude toward my goals as a person building a career. I often do not see her for 1 to 2 weeks at a time because meeting during the week is not usually possible, and not every weekend aligns. When we do get together, it is usually for the entire weekend. My point is that you are the one who sets the expectations and standards of effort through communication. If those are deal breakers for the other person, then that is something you need to accept. The right person will not make you feel guilty for wanting to be serious about your education and ambitions. Story 8. Life is not a project to be managed. There will be times when work takes priority, and there will be times when romantic relationships do. You just have to do what is best for you at the moment. Trying to maximize your relationship is a sure way to ruin it. Story 9. When I was single, not much changed. I did things that I liked and made an effort to look good, smell good, and be a good person because that is what I wanted to be for myself as well. Beyond that, I just enjoyed the whole dating experience. I put effort into dates, of course, from planning nice outings to cooking. I can't tell you how many hours. Also, brother, it sounds like you need to put more effort into her. Love is a choice, and you need to choose to do things for her and give her priority. Story 10. If you need a spreadsheet to track whether you are giving her enough attention, you are not giving her enough attention. Story 11. As much as they are willing to contribute. I have a girlfriend now, but I still have to put in some effort. It is only slightly different. Story 12. It comes in waves, I think. I'll be obsessed for a bit, then I'll pull back because it starts taking away from everything else. The cycle of planning, spending, and going out on dates only to be rejected can be overwhelming, and it is something I can't do for a long period of time. Sometimes these waves end with a sexual partner. Sometimes they do not. The waves are typically shorter when I'm focused on other things like career or academics. I don't really date for casual encounters, so I typically expend more emotional energy on each talking stage as well. If you are in medical school, you have access to many women who are likely to be extremely high earners and probably serious and looking to settle down. Why don't you tap into your medical school pool? Story 13. I do not date. The notion that a woman would find me attractive is absurd and entirely a fantasy. Story 14. You do not need to convince people to like you. If you find that no one likes you, that is a significant message from the universe. Spend more time working. I put in no effort at all. I only do things that have a return for me. Story 15. Well, if you do not want to put any effort in, I would expect your results to be underwhelming. I do not think there is any problem with putting effort into dating, but if the person you are pursuing does not seem to put any effort back into the relationship, you are probably better off finding someone who matches your energy. Doctor is one of the verified professions, so that will help out, I am sure. Story 16. I scroll through Tinder and OkCupid when I am bored, send out a couple of messages a week, and respond to any messages I receive. I do not spend my time looking to meet people offline because none of the options for meeting other gay men in the suburbs are particularly appealing to me, but my friends try to set me up occasionally. I probably go on one first date a month on average, but I am pretty happy being single, so I would say I am semi-actively looking to date at best. Story 17. I am 35 years old. I have had several long-term relationships from around 18 to 30. Marriage and children were never my priorities, so I do not know what I was thinking. Nowadays, I put no effort into dating and have found a lot of peace. Story 18. I have never done anything except continue life as normal. I believe that if she is going to be with me, she should know the real me, not an idealized version of myself. Story 19. I do nothing and I am completely alone and okay with it. Girls write to me occasionally, but I don't care much at all. So, zero effort. My friend puts in zero effort but attracts all the girls. They write to him like guys write to girls. He doesn't even answer them, but I see a different woman every day. Sometimes 2 or 3 different dates in one day. And this is okay too. Just minor effort. Story 20. That last sentence is worrisome. You should not be sacrificing any hours of school for any girl, let alone any person. If you happen to have excess free time that is not being used for self-care or rest, then sure, do whatever you want. But do not sacrifice the necessary time for someone who does not care about you. Story 21. The less you take care of yourself, the more effort you will need to put in to meet someone. Or I guess you could just lower your standards. Story 22. You are in medical school? Focus on that. Women come and go, but medical school is something you need to commit to. Your struggles with women will change because when you are a doctor, more gold diggers will approach you. However, you seem to have a good head on your shoulders since you have boundaries, so I would not worry too much about that until the time comes. Story 23. That depends on the category you are talking about. Time spent on my physical appearance is at least 15 hours per week if you include gym time, spray tanning, biweekly haircut, grooming, and so on. Most of that is gym time. Time spent meeting women, setting up and working my online funnel, and chatting is probably about 10 hours a week. Actual dating is about 3 to 4 hours per week, with 2 dates lasting about 90 to 120 minutes each, unless I let one or both of the women spend the night, one Friday night and one Saturday night. Then it can be up to 24 hours of dates per week. This usually results in 3 or 4 new women each month. Story 24. I have not put in any effort for about 8 or 9 years, except for short stints that did not last long. I would not recommend being me, though. I have a lot of self-confidence issues related to dating and conflict and have essentially decided not to put myself in those situations. Story 25. I usually go about my day and live my life. I let women come to me. Sometimes that means juggling 2 women at the same time. Other times it is a 4-month dry streak. I am fine with it. Story 26. Very little. I am a medical doctor. I am working full-time. I have little energy for dating, unfortunately. When do you start medical school? And what degree are you pursuing? Story 27. Personally, I am 26 years old and spend 5 to 10 minutes using my two major online dating applications every couple of days. Every few weeks, I go out to local social groups, events, and third places by myself and do my best to socialize and meet new people in the community. Occasionally, my close friends join me. Given this, I rarely approach women or men who are socially open and to whom I am attracted to get to know them. However, this has not led to meeting any new long-term friends or more. I have been living and moving between several major Australian cities in the past decade since I finished high school. Story 28. When I was single after my serious 20s relationship, I waited a few months and then started dating again. At my prime, between 27 and 29, I had at least one date a week, sometimes two. In terms of hours spent messaging, I would estimate about 10 hours a week. That is at least 1 hour of messaging a day, which is nothing in my opinion. It does not take me long to get ready for a date. My look is consistent and I do not think too much about it. Story 29. Pretty much both people need to do their part to make the relationship interesting, fun, and stimulating. A lot of people just are not the right fit because it should not be a big struggle. If you decide to break things off, that is totally understandable. I really think the people in breakup survival would benefit from your story too, so they know that some people just are not the right fit. Story 30. If I am actively looking, I probably spend a few hours a week on dates plus time on self-presentation, such as going to the gym and self-care, so it is a fair amount of effort. But now that I am seriously seeing someone, it is a different type of effort, with more time chatting and more time hanging out, probably less time at the gym. However, the total amount of time spent on the girl is about the same investment. Story 31. I use Bumble Spotlights. I almost never get actual matches and only receive likes when I use Spotlights, so I just leave it on autopilot. Story 32. Not much, honestly. I was not meeting anyone worth dating from the applications, so I pretty much gave up on all those. I go out with friends or to concerts most weekends, and I have no problems striking up conversations with girls I think are cute. The problem, though, is most decent-looking girls are with guys or already have guys trying to chat them up. Being single at 34 sucks. I have no idea where to find normal, cute, relationship-level single girls who are between 26 and 34 years old. Story 33. Cold approach never works for me unless she is giving me choosing signals, meaning she is already winking at me from across the room. I do not bother approaching in real life anymore. I have learned most people are boring, conventional types who want to have 2.5 kids, a 30-year mortgage, and work for 45 years. The chances they are compatible with me are slim. I am too old to care. Online dating has worked best for me. You get to cut through the nonsense, ask pointed questions, and move on if you are not compatible. This is just my experience. Dating in the United States is forgettable. The quality is poor both physically and mentally. I moved to Mexico, and it is like comparing a broken-down car to a 2025 Ferrari. Before anyone calls me a certain label, I am politically far left. It is just the cold, hard truth that the dating market in the United States is poor in my experience. Story 34. 0. I have been single for 6 years since my divorce. I have been on a few dates, but the last one was 2 years ago. I gave up last summer. Forget it. Story 35. Not much lately. I have been basically absent in dating because I have been incredibly busy. I literally do not have time at the moment to focus on devoting time to a relationship. Story 36. Match their energy. Occasionally go above and beyond. It does not hurt to be a gentleman. If they do not reciprocate, back off or end it. Story 37. Pretty much none. Most of my life has been, as someone put it, stumbling headfirst into adventure. And frankly, I like that more than the brief but difficult experience of thinking I need to get involved with someone and trying to date. I would rather take risks in Ukraine than subject myself to that again. Story 38. Just enough to let her know that I am there for her, but not so much that all our conversations are about each other. Story 39. If a conversation was not being reciprocated, I would just stop responding. I am not going to waste time with someone who cannot hold a conversation. Story 40. 0 effort. I am enjoying the single life and living alone. It is the most peace I have ever had. I am holding on to this for at least 1 to 2 more years. Unless a lovely woman finds me and seems interested, I am not going to pursue anyone. Story 41. I put none in. It is not because I cannot get any attention or matches. I am just tired of it, and I broke emotionally inside 4 years ago. Nowadays, regular life stresses me out and wears me down. I cannot really envision a place for romance in my life. It is probably not worth the risk. I am on thin ice, barely hanging on. Story 42. I think a lot of my poor outlook on the situation comes from the idea that if they wanted to be around me, they would try to be around me. If they are not trying to be around me, they simply tolerate my existence. There is actually a middle ground where they do not tolerate my existence, but they are also not trying very hard to be around me, even though they enjoy my presence in their life. There seems to be a lack of desire from all the women in my life to be around me. This makes me feel worse because I see people being deliberate about trying to be around each other, and I do not know who I would have permission to try to be around. I do not know who I have permission from to deliberately invest in. Trying to figure that out is the real hard part, not the time investment. In response to the main question, how much effort do I put into trying to figure it out? I am currently deliberately trying to cut back on the amount of thinking I put into trying to figure that out. Story 43. Before, I would put a lot of thought into something only to end up with very little in return. Nowadays, I barely put any effort into it. If it goes well, it goes well. Honestly, being single is better sometimes. Story 44. 1. You need to put effort into activities with measurable results. Lifting heavy weights, making money, acquiring skills, and gaining knowledge. You need to read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving AF. You need to avoid becoming cynical, stop seeing yourself as old, and most importantly, do not be unpleasant to others just because you cannot find a woman you like who reciprocates your feelings. How much time? Allocate only the time you dedicate to hanging out, socializing, and entertainment. If it starts to feel like a chore, you are overdoing it. If you become too generous with your time, most people will take you for granted. If you lower your standards and pursue unhealthy relationships, you will lose. 10 years from now, you could be dating similar women to those you pursue now, if you take control of your life and avoid wasting your time. Story 45. None. It is not worth it. Any amount I put in will require infinitely more effort than any partner I find. Now, story 46. I use my free likes on Hinge daily. If I get a match, cool. If I do not get a match, cool. That is pretty much the extent of it. After a 10-year relationship and the last 4 years by myself, I really do not have the energy to put into other people. Story 47. Step 1. Optional but recommended. Get a dog. Step 2. Put in 6 hours a week, like 3 dates a week until you find a friends with benefits partner, somebody in a similar situation that you can get drinks or dinner with and be intimate but do not see a future with. Step 3. When you have a friends with benefits partner, then have only 1 or 2 dates a week, sometimes none, but all high prospect dates. Step 4. Keep this going until you find someone that makes you want to leave your situation behind and pursue her 100%. Step 5. Rinse and repeat. Story 48. I barely have enough mental capacity to maintain my friendships because nobody cares, and it is one-sided the majority of the time. With dating, I am just putting myself out there until I find someone who genuinely cares and is worth my energy. Story 49. Not much, if at all, these days. I spent the last 10 years trying with no success. Now I feel like I am just getting diminishing returns, so I have pretty much given up. Story 50. Right now, 0. I have shifted my focus to weight loss, which is proving difficult due to stress and poor habit systems. I do not have any in real-life options, so online is the only way. I have not found mutual attraction yet, so weight loss comes first, and financial improvements second. Story 51. You assumed I put effort into dating. To be clear, I hire escorts and smoke cigars. No offense to married and committed men, but love is just building codependency, nothing more and nothing less. Forget that. Story 52. Effort should be in yourself. Once you put effort into yourself, you will not have to put effort into someone else. You naturally will not tolerate people near you who do not put effort into themselves. Relationships then become effortless. Story 53. Considering how going to bars as a sober man would just be asking for trouble, and I would never touch a coworker with a 10-foot pole, the effort is drifting until someone decides to approach and ask. When actual interest is reciprocated, then we can work with something. I will be more than glad to plan dates, put more thought into fashion over function for clothes, and communicate regularly. The issue is you need to get women to actually take the first step, which most high school boys took ages ago. Ironically, my female friends, platonic for a reason, are like teenagers shipping their favorite TV characters when it comes to my love life, but they are not going to lift a finger to get that ball rolling and introduce us. My male friends are the same, but they push me toward my female friends that I already know. Newton is the best dating coach you can have. If you do not know how to get men who want to date you, just read Newton's laws until you figure it out. Story 54. Oh, wait. Let me say it in a different way. I'm just focusing on loving myself because the right one will come when I least expect it. Besides, if I am authentic, then one of my female friends will eventually see how great of a guy I am. Or I can just date one of the two women in my hobbies. Story 55. I have a girlfriend now, but I never really put any effort into dating. Just go out to places and do things you like, even at a grocery store or gas station. I have had women show interest and start a conversation from there. If you are not actively looking, rejection does not really hurt. Story 56. You should put your efforts into making your relationship work or move on. It is extremely unfair and unfaithful to her to go to Reddit, putting effort and action into finding a new relationship when you have not even done the courtesy of ending your current one. Whatever you do, live honestly and do not be deceitful. Story 57. I don't put much effort in. I used to exhaust myself badly, but then I started relaxing and enjoying myself, taking care of myself and focusing on myself. That's when I realized that the more I focused on myself, the more I noticed women were open to trying to get to know me. So I keep doing just that, focusing on myself. Self-improvement is the best return on investment. The saying, don't chase the bees, plant the flowers and the bees will come. It's the truth. Story 58. 4 hours a week. Usually just Saturday night. I will invite somebody, a mutual friend or an old match, out for a non-romantic night with no pressure. Usually food and a scenic event such as a park, comedy club, hike, or rooftop bar. Get a little dressed up. No more effort than I feel comfortable maintaining consistently. Too much effort creates an expectation for that level of effort all the time. Story 59. I think it is good to try and not focus on how many hours you have to put into it. That is a little too strategic for finding a long-term partner, in my opinion. I have found my best success when I have the mindset of just seeking friends or interactions in general. You are on the right track by not wanting to convince a woman to like you. You should never have to convince someone who is meant for you. When you set your goals to making connections, no matter the type of connection, it allows that connection to grow into something more if you two truly have chemistry. Putting effort into getting out there with this mindset would be best. Like finding clubs or circles for your hobbies, or even just going out with your existing friends more and making friends with mutual acquaintances. Good luck. Story 60. Absolutely zero effort nowadays. I have been in multiple long-term relationships, and being single is much more peaceful. Story 61. I never really thought about it. It seems like keeping score. If you feel like you have to put in a certain number of hours just to meet the bare minimum to keep a relationship going, you may be unhappy in the relationship and should consider what you want your future to look like. People grow apart all the time, especially younger people who are still transitioning into what they will be doing for potentially the rest of their lives. If focusing on your career is what you want to do right now and your partner does not fit into that, then you are not doing yourself or your partner any favors by dragging it out. Story 62. I kind of gave up after I recently broke up with my girlfriend. Relationships never last more than a couple of months. Story 63. The last time I went on a date was 4 years ago. I tried dating applications and got no matches. I tried direct messaging girls on social media but received no replies. I was rejected in real-life approaches as well. At some point, I just gave up. Right now, I put zero effort into dating. As an average male, you have no chance, so why even bother? Story 64. A lot less than I used to. I might open the applications a couple of times a month and look through potential matches. Get zero and give them a break for a few weeks. I honestly do not think I am ever getting out of my single phase again, but I guess that is how life goes. Story 65. You're in medical school. I don't think you'll have any problem attracting women. They will see the medical degree on the horizon and the money and status it brings. She will be telling her friends, I'm dating a doctor, even before you graduate. I don't think you'll have much time, as my niece and cousin are both doctors and really didn't date during medical school. I wouldn't tolerate women who lie or do not treat you with respect. Story 66. Just as much effort as when I go see friends. But I am not really flirting. I do not know, I do not like dating. Story 67. Absolutely none. I always wait for subtle signs. The ones that call you, make you food, or invite you out. Story 68. Before I met my boyfriend, I made an effort to ask people out on dates but ensured I was not obsessive about it. Story 69. I can't be bothered anymore. No luck on the dating applications after years and nothing materializing in person. I could go down the pickup artist route, but I don't care anymore. I don't find women as attractive as I used to. Story 70. I probably spend around 20 hours a week. This includes studying and working on my social media presence, coaching, messaging people, dating, and going out to approach new people and expand my social circle. I want a good partner and I accept how competitive it is. Please do not ask me how much money I spend on top of it. Story 71. Not having female friends is a mistake. If I were you, I would fill the roster with female friends because even if we are platonic, she will have friends of her own. That gives you options. I met my wife through a mutual female friend. That is the easiest way to succeed. Story 72. No effort. Just be yourself, and I believe genetics play a role. But in a relationship, it's mostly a mess for me. I attract and get lured into toxic situations. So, I am single, dating, and learning about the toxic traits and variants of women. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.